You know what I think? I think this is actually onto something here. Because in this video, what I wanted to do was take a look at a post made on the Canucks subreddit that tries to reveal the truth about this Canucks team. You see, this is more of a philosophical commentary, if anything, and I think it is worth talking about because if you're interested in the Canucks as a whole, you could be having some questions about where the team will be heading after the season that was in 24-25. Are the Vancouver Canucks gonna be better next year? Is Elias Pettersson really gonna bounce back after a season without injury, hopefully, and not having JT Miller breathing down his neck in the locker room? Is Quinn Hughes gonna find a way to stick around and be a long-term part of the Vancouver Canucks decor? And how is Adam Foote going to play as the new head coach of this team? There are a lot of questions, and we don't really have a good idea as to where it's all going to go. As fans, this is a very difficult time because we don't have certainty. Last year, we didn't have certainty either, but at the very least, the team was one win away from making the third round. In that stage, there is hope. There is expectations. There are a lot of people excited about the future, but with a season like the one that just concluded for Vancouver, no chance. There aren't as many people as excited for the team now than they were 1 year ago when they got eliminated by Edmonton in Game 7. It was hopeful, and there was a lot of joy last year. This year, it's more uncertain than anything. Which is why I wanted to make this video and read a post on the Canucks sub by Different Progress 18. It's a hot take about the Vancouver Canucks, saying that we cannot judge anything based on what happened this season. Forgive me if this has already been discussed. I don't think there is much we can take away from the Vancouver Canucks from this season. There are very few teams, if any, that could survive missing 6 of their best players, Hughes, Hronek, Pettersson, Miller, Demko, Besser, for multiple weeks each. For example, Vegas had a similar issue the year before they won the Cup, and they also missed the playoffs. I am not, by the way, equating Vegas and Vancouver, but I think that this is even more evidence on what injuries can do, as Vegas is a much stronger team, and even they couldn't make it work. This management group has fixed the decor, they freed up cap space, and they had a successful season last year. We can't forget that. However, they haven't been perfect. I do think we can judge them based off of this offseason and next season, but this one was just a write-off. Pettersson needs to show up in order for this to work, of course, but I have no choice but to have faith. Now, just for reference, if you wanted to go out here and look, before the Vegas Golden Knights ended up winning the Stanley Cup, the 21-22 season saw a boatload of guys missing time. Yes, they had some players in the 70-80 game range, but Riley Smith only had 56 games. Pacioretty only had 39, William Karlsson 67, Mark Stone 37, Jack Eichel 34, even on the decor. Zach Whitecloud only had 59 games, Braden McNabb 69, Nick Hague 52. A lot of guys weren't necessarily in the entire way through. And this played into why the Vegas Golden Knights missed the playoffs in 21-22. Fast forward to the Vancouver Canucks of the 24-25 campaign, and you will find these guys missing time in the blue and white. Quinn Hughes had 68 games, Brock Besser 75, Connor Garland had 81, okay, so he played the whole year, DeBrusk 82, Suter 81, but then Pettersson had 64, Sherwood had 78, Miller had 40 because he got traded, but he also did take a leave of absence for a month, Phil Hronek 61 games, Dakota Joshua missed time, he had cancer, and then in net you had Thatcher Demko, who was out for a significant chunk too. Kevin Lankinen was forced to play 51 games on the campaign. The Vancouver Canucks were injury-riddled this previous season, and on top of all the drama, the interpersonal relationships crumbling down, and all of the league's gossipy spotlight placed upon this Canucks team, it was just a season to forget. But it's a season that none of us are ever going to forget because of how covered it was. Everybody was talking about this Canucks team throughout the year for all the wrong reasons. But I did want to go out there and give more of a dual perspective, because the main post on the Canucks sub says, yeah, we cannot really learn anything from analyzing the previous year for Vancouver Canucks hockey. This is just a write-off. We can just go in one year, out the other. Let's not judge anything about this team based off of what happened this previous year. However, a comment from Mother Maggie Shoes says this: I tend to agree with this assessment, but I want to go a little further. I don't think we can judge this team on either of the last 2 seasons. Everything went right, then everything went wrong. The real team probably lies somewhere in the middle. They are not a contender, that much is clear, but they are also not as bad as they were this past season. Some decent off-season moves could put them back into a low-end playoff spot, but they're a long way from anything close to a deep run or a cup. The next couple of years are going to be interesting, and of course, Petey has to be Petey. I have some faith in the management group, but I have no faith in ownership. I find it very hard to believe that ownership, known for meddling, will just stop meddling. Forever in the mushy middle. Experience Canucks hockey. Now, there was a reply saying, oh, not a contender, but not as bad as they were. The Canucks were 6 points away from a playoff spot. A few of those overtime losses turned into wins, and they were a playoff team. But then the clarification is, yeah, no, playoffs does not equal contender. If you think that this team, as it's currently constructed, is a cup contender, you're delusional. Good goaltending. Could be great with Demko staying healthy somehow. Very solid defense. A decent bottom 6, terrible top 6. The Canucks don't have the depth to get through a deep playoff run as it stands right now. We'll see what management can do in this offseason, and maybe the tune will change slightly, but they realistically need 3 top 6 forwards in order to be considered anything close to a quote-unquote contender. And if you look at the Canucks and their lines and everything, I mean, okay, Elias Pettersson, probably a top 6 player. And the fact that I'm saying probably and not like guaranteed does kind of raise some red flags, but let's just roll with it for now. Höglander, Garland, DeBrusk, Besser, okay, are these guys top 6 players? We had said this entire time that if you're on a Stanley Cup championship team, Connor Garland's probably a third-line guy. Don't know if he's a top 6 player on a cup winner. DeBrusk maybe is a legit top 6 player, but he is a bit streaky, so he's maybe on the lower end of that. Brock Besser, who knows if he's even going to stick around. The fact is, the Vancouver Canucks are not in a place where their team is as deep as it was forward-wise last season, but also last season you had a team where everything was going in, so it's hard to fully look at that Canucks team from 23-24 and say that that team is the team that they are. Okay, that's a weird sentence, but you kind of get what I mean here, right? The Canucks are not always going to be a PDO-bending, high shooting percentage, high danger chance team every single year. You have to regress back. And maybe this year was a little bit too far of a regression, especially with the injuries playing a part of it. But if the real team does lie somewhere in the middle of what we had seen in 23-24 and in 24-25, then maybe the Vancouver Canucks are a team that is capable of making the playoffs. Maybe they will make it again next year. Who knows? They're going to have to get another center to help out EP if they want to do that, because I don't have faith in Filipino right now. Everything can change by the time the preseason begins, and the Vancouver Canucks adding on whichever pieces they will add on could potentially make or break this management's run with the team before ownership steps in and says, yeah, no, we got to go another direction. We got to get another guy who will listen to all of our demands. I guess we just have to wait and see, right? So for now, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the real Vancouver Canucks? What are your thoughts on how this team is assembled, and do you think they are as bad as they were this previous year? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this British Roll 9, and bye.